Welcome to another video, and in today's video we have a brand new video for you, and we're doing the Intergender Forbidden Door tag team bracket for y'all. This is a random one, so y'all gonna have to stick with us for this one. But we have an intergender tag team for each brand. We're gonna have them going against each other in a bracket as you see on screen. We're gonna pick the best team at the end of it. We're gonna see which team comes out on top, AEW versus WWE, and yeah, let's see who comes out on top. For our first match, we have Kenny Omega and Willow Nightingale facing off against Roman Reigns and Charlotte Flair. Now for this one, we have Kenny Omega and Willow Nightingale taking this one. Now it might be a little bit controversial, but we do have them going on pretty much because Kenny Omega is that much better than Roman than Charlotte is to Willow in our opinion. So yeah, that is our reasoning for Kenny Omega and Willow Nightingale. Moving on.
And for the second matchup, we have Kazuchika Okada and Thekla representing AEW, taking on Ilya Dragunov and Lyra Valkyria. And yeah, this matchup is another very tough one just because you have two great women in Thekla and Lyra who kind of are equal on equal tiers. But then you have Ilya who brings that intensity, which I think will give him the edge. And I think that's what will win him the match to bring them to the second round.
Now for the third one, we have Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir facing off against Royce Keys and Jordan Grace. Now obviously this one could go either way. When you have a big powerhouse like Royce Keys and Jordan Grace in the ring, they can outpower anyone. But we do have Jon Moxley and Marina taking this one because of their kind of heelish ways. They have a faction with them. There's a lot of different unique ways they could do with Marina Shafir, as kind of willing to put her body through anything and do anything to her opponents. And same thing with Moxley, of course. So we do have them moving on past the powerhouses.
And then for the next matchup, we have Swerve Strickland and Athena teaming up to take on Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. Obviously, we have that couple together. And yeah, they end up taking it out on top with the schemes of the Judgment Day. They can obviously have the help of a Finn Balor get involved, Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez. You can get a lot of involvement, and I think that's what will end up getting the win. Plus, Dominic Mysterio, we know what he can be up to.
Definitely. But for our next match, we have one of the best women's wrestlers in the world in Will Ospreay with Jamie Hayter taking on Oba Femi, and one of the best women's wrestlers in the world in Io Sky. So definitely very interesting matchups here. You know, we have a vet in Will Ospreay, and then Jamie Hayter, who I guess is also a vet, but hasn't really kind of got that big staple win in AEW yet to say this is my big moment. And then kind of the same thing on the WWE side. We have Oba Femi, this brand new guy who is upcoming monster of a man, and then it's Io Sky, the vet, won world titles, one of the best wrestlers in the world. And for this one, we have Oba Femi and Io Sky taking the win here, just because Oba Femi is just a monster of a man, and Io Sky, she is just the best wrestler in the world potentially. So that is the reason for them moving on.
And then next up, we have Kyle Fletcher and Mercedes Moné teaming up against Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, another couple. And this time, Kyle Fletcher and Mercedes Moné come out on top. Obviously, we have Fletcher having come off one of the best years we've seen in quite some time from a professional wrestler. And yeah, Mercedes Moné, who also is coming off the back of winning over 13 championships this past year. And that's what will give him the advantage. Seth Rollins, obviously, he had the World Heavyweight Champion, but we've seen him drop it. Same thing with Becky Lynch, but she did end up regaining the champion. And yeah, I think Fletcher and Mercedes Moné will go to the next round, and yeah, should be a good one.
Up next, we have MJF and Megan Bayne versus Cody Rhodes and Stephanie McCurry. Now, for this one, we're using, I guess, a little bit of kayfabe and who we have for the winner here, because MJF and Megan Bayne is going to take the win here, and that is because Cody Rhodes, he did just lose his title, and Stephanie McCurry, she did retain her title, but she does have an ankle injury, so we kind of use that in this one to kind of help us with our decision. So MJF and Megan Bayne move on.
And then in the final match of the first round, we see Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm team up to take on CM Punk and Rhea Ripley. And no surprise here, CM Punk and Rhea Ripley get the win. And yeah, this is obviously just a big match. I think Rhea Ripley and Tony Storm is a dream match for a lot of people. I think I'm one of those people. And yeah, but I think CM Punk is going to be where you get the advantage of to take over Orange Cassidy. But yeah, should be a good match or good matches in the second round.
Yeah, and we're moving on to round 2, where we have Kenny Omega and Willow Nightingale facing off against Ilya Dragunov and Lyra Valkyria. Now this one, I mean, you could go either way. There's the two kind of rising, upcoming talent that will potentially win world titles in WWE, but they're facing off against one of the best vets in the world in Kenny Omega and Willow Nightingale, who's a fan favorite, really good in ring, a double champion at the current time of recording. So we are going with Kenny Omega and Willow Nightingale.
And then in the next match, we see Jon Moxley, Marina Shafir take on Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. And with the intensity that Jon Moxley, Marina will bring, I don't think Liv and Dominic will be ready for it. And I think ultimately Moxley and Marina get the win. Again, they also have the advantage of having a kind of more stronger group. It'll be a cool little battle between Judgment Day and the Death Riders.
Yeah, I don't think JD McDonough is going to be outpowering Claudio Castagnoli any day of the week, unfortunately. But we're moving on to the next one, and that's Obafemi and Io Sky facing off against Kyle Fletcher and Mercedes Moné. Now, this is a very tough one, of course, but we're kind of just went with the same logic as last time. Io Sky is today the best wrestler in the world, in my opinion. Mercedes, yes, she is number 2, of course, but obviously, you know, number 1 is number 1. And Kyle Fletcher, you know, he might be better in ring than Obafemi, but man, Obafemi, he's just Obafemi. I think Io Sky and Obafemi move on to the semifinals.
And then the last matchup of round 2, we see MJF and Megan Bayne face off against CM Punk and Rhea Ripley, and I think is one of the best kind of dream intergender matches we could, I think, have. And yeah, you have MJF and Punk having their rematch, but then also Megan Bayne and Rhea Ripley face off. I think would look amazing. I can't wait to hopefully see that one day. But yeah, in the end, we do see CM Punk and Rhea Ripley come out on top and advance. Yeah, I think Rhea Ripley's going to get the advantage from this match. But yeah, I think this would definitely be a close one.
Yeah, now we are on to the semi-finals. Only 2 matchups remaining before we get to the finals here. And this is a big one because we have 2 AEW teams going against each other here. We have Kenny Omega and Willow Nightingale going against Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir. The 2 biggest baby faces of AEW versus potentially the 2 biggest heels of AEW. The biggest faction, well, second biggest faction in AEW apart from the Don Callis family, of course. But yeah, a lot going on in this match. A lot of potential things to happen. Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley, long history with each other. But we will go with Kenny Omega and Willow Nightingale, the big baby faces, taking the win here.
In the last match of the semifinals, we see Obafemi and Io Sky take on CM Punk and Rhea Ripley. The 2 current women's tag team champions face off against each other. But then you have Obafemi and CM Punk, a match that I hope we get sometime this year. But in the end, the 2 best wrestlers in their separate divisions will win again, and that is Obafemi and Io Sky. Yeah, it's just something that when you have that much strength and that much power and that much just skill in the ring, it's kind of hard to beat. So we see Obafemi and Io Sky make it to the finals as well to take on Kenny Omega and Willow Nightingale.
So yeah, definitely has been an interesting tournament. We have seen, you know, we started off with all WWE versus AEW, and we ended with an AEW versus WWE. So definitely really good stuff going throughout this entire tournament. I would love to see a lot of intergender teams actually come to life. If it what could potentially ever happen, of course, this would be amazing. A forbidden door, even between the 2 companies, in any way possible, would be amazing, of course. But we are at the finals. As you mentioned, Kenny Omega and Willow versus Obafemi and Io Sky. And I think the winner is kind of clear, unfortunately. And that is Obafemi and Io Sky taking down the entire bracket.
Yeah, I mean, Obafemi and Io Sky, like we said earlier, they're just too strong. It's one of the most OP teams I think we kind of built in this tournament. And yeah, I think Kenny Omega would definitely give him a run for his money. But in the end, like I said, the power of Obafemi, we know Kenny Omega has a kind of list of injuries that Obafemi can definitely work on. But then also Io Sky versus Willow, I think the speed of Io Sky will kind of just take that advantage over Willow Nightingale.
Yeah, I mean, this has been an amazing tournament. Obviously, I would love, as I mentioned earlier, to see it play out in real life. Unfortunately, that'll probably never happen, unfortunately. But, you know, it's been a fun one to do. Let us know if you would like to see us do some more of these types of videos where we kind of bring up dream scenarios and stuff like that. We appreciate you for watching. Catch us in the next one. Leave a like and subscribe. And, yeah, we'll see you in the next video.